Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! This is so cool. 2026 is going to be a huge year for fans of Descendants and Zombies. If you've been a fan of Descendants and Zombies for what feels like your entire life, then you have hit the right thumbnail tonight. You are watching the right YouTube channel. You're going to want to keep it locked here because 2026 is going to be a big year for everybody who ever proudly said they were a fan of Descendants and Zombies. Hello once again, ladies and gentlemen. Jonathan Clarke Video Blogs is live once again on YouTube with his latest episode. I, of course, am your host, Jonathan Clarke. If you guys are new here, I am the biggest fan of Descendants and Zombies in the world. While it may not look like it, I really am, because I love the music, I love the story, I love the cast. I think they are full of exuberance, I think they are full of talent, and so full of life. They've set a perfect example of what life really means to everybody, teaching us so many valuable lessons, so why not give them the praise they deserve? That's where my issue lies, with all the criticism that people are throwing the way of Descendants and Zombies, saying everything from they need to stop making Descendants and Zombies movies, to we've seen enough done with the story, enough's been said and done. I don't want to believe that. I refuse to believe that, and I refuse to close the door on anything happening that has yet to happen in the franchises because there's still so much of a story yet to be told, which can only mean one thing. For those of you who believe that this story is over, this story is far from over, and we're going to see anything but a dramatic conclusion like all the critics are suggesting on their videos, which is pretty much just AI. I mean, I have to be obvious with each and every one of you. It's just AI, 7 to 12 minutes long videos being uploaded on YouTube every night. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to host a show where it was actually commentated on the foreseeable future of Descendants and Zombies, because I know how to commentate. I went to school, I got a degree in journalism, so if there's one guy who knows how to get the job done for you guys, it's this guy here. And I have never felt more honored to be in your guys' presence because Descendants and Zombies has not only provided me with the opportunity to discuss the franchise's past and present, it's also given me the opportunity to meet so many wonderful fans from all walks of life with Descendants and Zombies. The thing that I notice about Descendants and Zombies and commentating on it, it presents such a cultural diversity, which means that people from all walks of life, all nationalities, are fans of Descendants and Zombies, who speak different languages, who are bilingual, who are such fans of Descendants and Zombies because of the music, because of the script. Very different reasons coming from every fan of Descendants and Zombies as to why, offering up an explanation as to why they are a fan of the franchise. And we have a lot of very different people on YouTube commentating on Descendants and Zombies, or so they say. We have a crazy cat ear headphone wearing lady who shoots videos every night. We have a guy who shoots videos out of his mom's basement, and we have Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. So your options for Descendants and Zombies videos are very limited. But even with saying that, I do go above and beyond for every fan of Descendants and Zombies, providing you with commentaries every single night, because I believe, by the light of the moon, there is no better way to talk about Descendants and Zombies for the foreseeable future. Because while people will try to close the door for forever and slam it shut on your hopes and dreams for Descendants and Zombies, I've never wanted to do that for you guys because I am just like each and every one of you. I don't know what's going to happen in Descendants and Zombies from one moment to the next. Do you think I thought there was going to be a vortex in the final scene of Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampire setting us up for Zombies 5 in the foreseeable future? You better believe I didn't. So because I didn't know that it was going to be a vortex at the end of the movie, I'm just like each and every one of you and just making predictions about what I think is going to happen. I really don't know what's going to happen, which makes it even more exciting for me to be a fan for the foreseeable future and to be along for the ride. Because this is what this has been for me, an incredible journey where I found myself, where I had the honor to meet each and every one of you. I was brought back from the dead. You guys dug me out of a grave when I thought my career was over after 7.5 years had passed. You guys brought me back and made me your voice of Descendants and Zombies. Guys, this was so cool. And this was such an honor for me to be your voice of Descendants and Zombies and have over 65,000 channel views plus on this YouTube channel. It's insane. And it just goes to show how much each and every one of you love the stars that you've talked about and you fell in love with for the last 10 years. Dove Cameron, Sofia, Carson, Kylie Cottrell, Malia Baker. I mean, this is just an incredible honor for me to be here with each and every one of you. Because I could be just some loser on YouTube streaming video games, offering you his predictions on the next chapter of the video game he just finished completing. But you guys gave me the opportunity to actually commentate again, which, to be honest with each and every one of you, I thought I'd never do again. When I hung up the headset for the final time back in 2018, I thought my career was over. I thought my story had been told and completed. But then everybody, fell in love with this franchise Disney was promoting called Descendants. Girls were showing up at my door dressed up as their favorite Descendants characters, trying to persuade me because they knew I had a career in radio and on YouTube for years to create a Descendants and Zombies podcast. I took it under advisement, took it under consideration, and here we go again. Jonathan Clarke has been revitalized, and he's been given a second chance to be heard. So because I've been given a second chance to be heard, if you think I'm going to criticize your favorite stars and criticize the franchises that you grew up with, then you've come to the right place, because I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show your stars and show your Descendants and Zombies franchises the respect they deserved for a very long time. Because I've seen the reaction videos that people uploaded, particularly about zombies, and man, have they ever let me down. Because I thought I was going to watch a reaction video where actually people thought they knew what they were talking about, but I couldn't make sense of anything that I saw in any of the reaction videos that I was watching. So because I couldn't make sense of anything that I saw in the reaction videos that I was watching, there's only one guy crazy enough to do this gig and put together great videos about Descendants and Zombies for you guys, and you're looking at him. Because I was there on July 31st, 2015. I know this sounds really cliche, but I was just like each and every one of you. I was excited about the premiere of Descendants. I had heard about the script. I had heard about the phenomenal cast. And man, were they ever phenomenal. They captivated me. And I think saying they captivated me really is an understatement, but they really did captivate me by the powerful music, the powerful script, and the powerful relationship that we saw between Mel and Ben, because they sacrificed everything just to be with each other. The incredible sacrifices we saw them make from chapter to chapter in that franchise was amazing. And then, of course, spun off of that, we had the story of Red and the story of Wonderland characters being introduced into the franchise. Of course, Red and Chloe hit it off as the best of friends. They went back in time and altered it. And now what we have foreshadowing us over the horizon is going to be Descendants 5, Wicked Wonderland, and the consequences of time travel are going to be felt for the first time in almost 2 years for Red and Chloe. It was happily ever after all they wanted. We shall find out. And while we find out, before we do, I'm going to be here every single night uploading Descendants and Zombies videos for each and every one of you to help you make sense of everything Descendants and Zombies, which other people promise you they're going to, but they're nowhere to be seen. Because the crazy cat or headphone-wearing lady is nowhere to be seen. The guy making videos out of his mom's basement wearing a blanket around him is nowhere to be seen. And the only guy that you can pretty much rely on for Descendants and Zombies videos at this point is Jonathan Clarke. And it really is the greatest honor of my life, because I really did see a lot of potential in Kylie Cantrell. I have to be honest with each and every one of you. Ever before she donned the role of Red in the Descendants franchise, I really thought she had something special. Her desire to want to sing and dance was absolutely adorable. I remember watching the very first few episodes of her web show Hello Kylie and how much promotion it was receiving. Disney immediately picked her up because they thought her reviews of Sam and Cat and Victorious were adorable. I too was a big fan of Sam and Cat and Victorious, if you can believe that. I actually just saw some new photos today of Victoria Justice earlier this afternoon. I think her career is headed in a very promising direction. Shout out to Victoria. I've loved Victoria Justice ever since at least 2009 when she was making guest appearances on iCarly. On season 2, I'll never forget when, of course, Miranda Cosgrove's character Carly Shay took on Victoria Justice's character, who made a guest appearance in a UFC fight. Because of my history with the UFC and professional wrestling, I thought that was really cool. I think that seeing Kylie Cantrell review my favorite TV shows is really what set things in motion for what I was going to talk about many years in the foreseeable future, because I really did love talking about Kylie Cantrell as time went on. And I became more interested in what Kylie Cantrell had happening for her. Her vlogs really kept us in touch about what was happening in her personal life. It showcased what her daily routine was like. And she's got a lot on her plate. I have to give Kylie Cantrell credit where credit is due and props for being able to do what she does, because I don't know if I'd be able to do it, to be honest with each and every one of you. I've had this thing where fame has followed me all of my lifetime, and I've been no stranger to everybody knowing who I was on social media. But the thing is, I don't know if I'd be able to do what Kylie Cantrell does. Day in and day out, this girl is up every morning at 4:30. She's at the gym. She has time enough to get breakfast and get dressed. And she's at the gym getting in shape for a role of Descendants, which I have a profound amount of respect for her for having done. She's recording music and promoting it independently outside of her Disney obligations. So that's really cool. And that shows how much respect she has for each and every one of you, because she doesn't want to quit on you guys. The thing about Dove Cameron was, while I had all the respect in the world for Dove Cameron wanted to quit more times than she was ever given credit for. And it was because of persuasion from her mom and her friends that she stayed with it. And Dove Cameron went on to become a global phenomenon. But if not for her friends and her family persuading her to stay with it, I don't know if Dove Cameron would have been able to handle it. I have a lot of respect for people like Kylie Cantrell who wanted to keep the Descendants franchise alive, and that's why I see there's no time for criticism for Kylie Cantrell. And that's what I'm here to do something about, because I know that hundreds of videos that are uploaded about Kylie Cantrell, 95 of them are focusing on criticism about her music, about the character Red, about the Descendants franchise as a whole in its entirety. We've got to stop. I mean, people tried to do this with the Zombies War down in the Vampires chapter of the franchise, saying that Zombies 3 was enough, the story of aliens was enough for them to take in, and the story should have been told and completed, especially with how rumors were floating around that Ben Donnelly and Milo Manheim wanted to sit behind the camera for the foreseeable future. I really think that we really needed to give more of a chance to Zombies, and I'm saying the same thing to people like Kylie Cantrell and Malia Baker. Let's see what they do with Descendants 5, Wicked Wonderland, and then draw a conclusion then. But I really believe that for the foreseeable future that no particular conclusion should be drawn and more of a chance should be given to your favorite stars. Because without giving them a chance, they're never going to have an opportunity to shine. And believe you me, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're watching this video across the globe tonight, their stars are far from fading. And that's exactly what I'm here to do. Remember in Pinocchio how Pinocchio had a wish that he would become a real boy? Well, I think that we can make a wish on a star tonight. If there is a shooting star out there in the sky tonight, I think each and every single one of us should make a wish that the futures of your favorite Descendants and Zombie stars live on for forever and always. Because I can assure you, ladies and gentlemen, that if I had one wish to make on a shooting star tonight, it would be that the legacies of your favorite Descendants and Zombie stars would live forever and eternally, long after I'm gone. Because if there's one thing that I want to leave behind me, because I've done everything in my career, and you had better believe that I've done everything and I've had a lot of opportunities. If there's one final thing that I do in the final few years that I have left as a podcast host, because I don't have very many left, it would be to ensure the legacy of your favorite Descendants and Zombie stars live on forever and always, long after I'm gone. That's what I want for you guys. That's what I wanted for these franchises, because I'm just as big of a fan of these franchises as each and every one of you. And I'm here to let you guys know that being a fan of Descendants and Zombies is cool, and there's nothing wrong with it. While I may not have the Descendants and Zombies merch as backdrops to, back up my claim of being a Descendants and Zombies fan, you guys can get from how I talk about it that I'm the biggest fan in the world of it, and I love to hype it up. Because I really do believe there's a foreseeable future for Descendants and Zombies. With so many characters yet to have their story told, so many storylines yet to be created and presented, so many unpredictable twists and turns the plot could take. There's going to be a lot of confliction now with Red and her sister Pink coming into the franchise, whom I'm excited to meet next summer and say nothing but good things about, because, jumping to a conclusion about the new sister of Red, Pink, coming into the franchise played by Leomani Segura would be jumping to a formidable conclusion, and that's the last thing I want to do, because reports are suggesting there's going to be a remix of Life is Sweeter With You Are, with Kylie Cantrell and Leomani Segura lending their voice to the soundtrack, replacing Ruby Rose Turner. As much as I love the original Life is Sweeter When You Are song and how it was very appropriate for Ruby to sing that song, and it was a song specifically written for her character Bridget, because she explained why the Queen of Hearts was the way she was after we had believed the Queen of Hearts was so evil, and that was her sole purpose for having been created, with the annoying voice and everything and the way she represented herself. I really would go for a remix of this song. I really would, because Kylie Cantrell can sing anything. It was said for years that Miley Cyrus could sing anything. You could give Miley Cyrus just words on a script and turn it to lyrics, and Miley Cyrus could sing it. But the thing is, I think that Kylie Cantrell can be in that same conversation, because she has taken some of the most beautiful songs and the most beautiful lyrics and really put them to a melody. And the thing about having success in the music industry is about putting lyrics to a melody, and I think that Kylie Cantrell is one of the first ones to do this in a long time. Ruby too. I think that the cast of Descendants and Zombies, while there may have only been 8 songs on the soundtrack for The Rise of Red, and there's going to be new songs for the new movie coming up, Wicked Wonderland, in the summer of 2026, they were able to take those 8 songs and present such a catchy vibe that you almost instantly fell in love with songs like Red and Life is Sweeter When You Are and Get Your Hands Dirty and Fight of Our Lives. You can name all the songs off by one hand, but the thing is, this soundtrack became so revered because it was so catchy. It really presented a Wicked kind of vibe, and this is coming from the biggest Wicked fan in the world. And I will be seeing Wicked for Good coming up in November. Really excited about that, because I was the biggest Ariana Grande fan ever. But I think that, thinking about Ariana Grande, I think the same 4 or 5 celebrities are always talked about in what's become a revolving door. I think that more people focus on Ariana Grande and her portrayal of Belinda the Good Witch and Taylor Swift's Eras Tour from last year than they ever have of Supergirl celebrating her 37th birthday today. Thank you so much, Melissa Benoit, for all your contributions as the live-action Supergirl for the live-action TV series, which was my favorite portrayal of Supergirl ever. And, this is why I say that Ben Donnelly Donnelly shouldn't be so frustrated about being turned down for the role of Supergirl in the live-action Superman movie from earlier this summer. That was taken away from her by Millie Alcott. The thing is, it was such a disrespectful representation of what Supergirl had represented in the TV series. It was just so ridiculously done. And even the portrayal of Superman, because for at least 75% of the movie, Superman was getting his ass kicked. And I don't ever remember, as a little kid growing up, watching Superman getting his ass kicked as many times as I saw in that movie. So ultimately, I came away from the movie theater, the cinema complex, being very disappointed in the portrayal of that Superman movie and the characters. So I really don't think that Meg Donnelly should be heartbroken over the fact that she was turned down for a role in the DC movie, because there will be more opportunities for her. And I say this because she's so passionate about everything she does. And all she's ever wanted to do is set an example for everybody. She wanted to set an example for everybody in the zombies movies. And I will go on record for saying this. I really do believe when it comes to a certain age demographic, zombies is way more revered than any installment of the Superman chapter that we remember being fans of superheroes. I say this because I was the biggest superhero fan in the world. And when I saw the portrayals of Superman and Supergirl in the latest Superman movie, man, was I ever disappointed. I came away more disappointed than I did going into it with anticipation. I dressed up in a Superman t-shirt, a leather jacket. I thought I was the coolest guy in the world this summer seeing the Superman movie premiere. And the only thing Superman achieved was selling blizzards at a local Dairy Queen, which is one of the greatest ice cream establishments in America. Shout out to you guys. But that's what they only accomplished, was selling more blizzards at Dairy Queen than making a great movie, because Meg Donnelly was shut down for the role of Supergirl. That disappointed me, because I would have been all in to see Meg Donnelly play Supergirl. Even if it would have only been for 5 minutes in a scene with herself and Krypto the dog, it would have been so cool seeing her have that opportunity, because I know she is also a really big Superman fan. She is a big fan of superheroes in general. She was a big fan of Deadpool. I think everybody in the world, come to think of it, was a fan of Deadpool. I was probably the only guy who was never a fan of Deadpool, and that had a lot to do with how he was portrayed by Ryan Reynolds. I know a lot of people think he's a great comedian. Of course, he's from Canada like I am, but there's just something about his portrayal of Deadpool that didn't really hit it off with me. But I was always the biggest fan of superheroes, and I can understand how Meg Donnelly wanted this role, but I think that her heart should be set in other directions right now, because she created so much and she offered to us so much with the Zombies franchise, and she really, if anything, brought it to life. So I think that criticizing her is just jumping to a conclusion we don't need to be jumping to. And I think that there are going to be more opportunities for Meg Donnelly, because she does have the fan support out there. The girl has 250,000 subscribers on YouTube, and that's really a dream of mine. And Freya Sky has, get this, 500,000 subscribers and only 12,000 subscribers on her Facebook fan page. So we all got to head over to Freya Sky's Facebook fan page and all subscribe, because Freya Sky's got a lot happening. Her birthday's this month. She's going to be 16. I'm incredibly excited for her, just as I was for Meg Donnelly this past July. I'm incredibly excited about Ruby's birthday happening this month also. Back-to-back birthday celebrations. We've got the countdown to Halloween. And by the way, guys, I really appreciate how Descendants and Zombies always goes all out for these holidays, Halloween and Christmas, which I'm going to have the opportunity to spend with you guys for the first time ever. Christmas is going to be huge. New Year's is going to be huge. I remember on Halloween and New Year's they would have these Descendants movie marathons where they would play the entire original trilogy out from beginning to end, and everybody was so excited. I think Disney Channel had the highest viewership every year around the time they would air these specific marathons of Descendants and Zombies. I just recently binge-watched the entire Zombies trilogy and the Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires movie that was included in it, and I had such a greater appreciation for that movie than I ever did going into it, because I noticed a lot of things about the movie, like how they kept the zombies locked up in the safe zone down in the basement, how there was a greater appreciation for zombies by the end of the movie. All the music added up perfectly, and if Disney was to introduce us to any sci-fi generation kind of movie, it would have to be zombies. I think that this movie has definitely went further than what High School Musical ever did, and I think it didn't deserve the criticism it received, because the stars were incredibly talented, the stars were incredibly strong, they didn't care what anybody thought of them, and I'll tell you why they didn't care what anybody thought of them, because they had the support of each and every one of the cast members. Everybody was there for each other. It wasn't about just one specific person being put over like it was for Miley Cyrus on Hannah Montana, with everything revolving around her. And that took emphasis off of Emily Osment's character, Lily Truscott. That took emphasis off of Jason Earle's character, Jackson. The thing was, Hannah Montana and High School Musical revolved around the same two, or the one sole character. And I think if you had had greater emphasis on other characters and they would have stood out more in the franchise, while that will be argued for forever, that yes, Sharpay Evans may have had just as much emphasis as Vanessa Hudgens' character Gabriela Montez did, I didn't see that. And that's coming from a guy that was sitting in the front row watching the High School Musical 3 senior year premiere in 2008. I was more excited than anybody to be there for it. So too was I for the Hannah Montana movie premiere. But these series were way overrated just because of one thing to fall back on, and that was the music. Descendants not only had the music to fall back on, but they had a story to fall back on if the music wasn't that catchy. But every Descendants movie, I really feel as if the music got better, because the writing got better, the talent got better, and they were able to introduce themselves to a global audience like never before, because more people than ever before have kind of gravitated to Descendants of Zombies, because they see themselves in the situations the characters may have been caught up within. They see themselves under the same kind of circumstances and faced with the same kind of pressure day after day, because I know high school has always been a constant struggle for everybody, even though they don't choose to admit it. But I want you guys to know everything will be okay, because I went through the same thing in high school like many of you are going through right now. Peer pressure, being bullied, not knowing if I'm going to survive a test or an examination. There's a lot of pressure that goes with that, because you have to live up to a certain criteria, a certain expectation for your parents that they have set a standard for you to achieve. And I think that's how everybody was able to relate to a character from the Descendants franchise, because Mal and Red had to achieve something far greater than what their parents ever wanted them to achieve. Because Lord knows Maleficent wanted Mal to become something far different from what she ultimately became. Lord knows the Queen of Hearts had higher expectations for Red than she ever set for herself. But the thing was, at the end of every chapter of Descendants, Mal or Red, whoever you're talking about or whoever you remember, became so revered because they went out to achieve what they wanted, apart from everybody else. And that made them stood out more effectively than how their parents wanted them to become, and how their parents had pretty much paved the path to success for them, or so they thought. But I think that in the future, I think that Red and Mal are going to discover more about themselves than perhaps ever before. And we see this all the time with Dove Cameron trying to reinvent herself with the compilation Too Much, the follow-up to Alchemical from 2022. I will never forget one of the very first late-night talk show performances she gave of one of the songs off of that album. I believe it actually was Too Much. And thousands of people watched it on YouTube and were posting great reviews of Dove Cameron. So happy to see her back. And I, too, was so happy to see her back after reinventing herself, because so many people were throwing criticism in the way of Dove Cameron, saying she quit on her career, she gave up on her fans, she had mysteriously vanished. But I think Dove Cameron just wanted to take a step back from all the peer pressure she was faced with, everything she was going through in her personal life, and just as an entertainer, because there's a constant amount of pressure on somebody's shoulders that we don't really know about. Let's spend one day as them and see how we feel about it. That's how I, perceive it. But I really do believe that the greatest years of these stars' careers have yet to be seen, and I, for one, am just incredibly excited to be a part of it. I'm really excited to be a part of the foreseeable future, hearing your guys' predictions about Descendants of Zombie Stars, where you believe the franchises are headed, because I think never enough conversation can happen about these franchises, and never enough conversation should happen about these franchises, because if we were to leave it at Descendants 3 and the barrier being closed and the death of Cameron Boyce, what does it tell us about the story? That the story only got so far. But if we continue on, the franchise becomes more than what people expected it to amount to. Cameron Boyce will have happen what he's always wanted to have happen for the franchise, and that's for his legacy to continue on, and the legacies of your favorite stars. They will continue to be honored. More accolades will be bestowed upon them, and that's exactly what I want to have happen for Kylie Contrell and Freya Sky. And I will say more about this tomorrow morning on my show, because I really do believe that never enough prestige is shown to your favorite stars. It's always criticism. If there are 100 videos uploaded about Descendants of Zombies every night to YouTube, 95 of them are filled with criticism. And I really don't believe that Kylie Contrell and Freya Sky should be crying about how people feel about them. If anything, they should be more than proud to be in the position they're in to take over. And they are going to take over. Regardless if it's now, regardless if it's 3 years from now, give Freya Sky 5 years, and she's going to be really a Supergirl. She's a Supergirl in the making. She's going to be a Taylor Swift. She's going to be on the next Eras tour. Because the thing is about Freya Sky, you can really see the potential with this girl. And I really do believe that she is a superstar in the making. If giving her time is what she needs, I think we need to take a step back. We need to shy away from the criticism. And we just need to come out full-on supporting Freya Sky, because if we come out full-on supporting Freya Sky, the best years of her career are yet to be witnessed. And this is going to be something to just be incredibly excited about, because I really am in this for the long haul, and I'm going to be here talking about Descendants of Zombies for the foreseeable future, because I believe if you're going to talk about Descendants of Zombies, then that's what you should do, is talk about Descendants and Zombies. I record up to 4 podcasts a day, sometimes 3 depending, on Descendants and Zombies, because I believe that never enough emphasis is relayed to each and every person who ever thought they were a fan of Descendants and Zombies, and we're so proud to call themselves a fan of Descendants and Zombies, because this is the greatest honor of my life. And to show you it's the greatest honor of my life, I am here to make sure that your favorite stars go down in history for being some of the greatest of all time. Why, you may ask? Because that's all I've ever wanted to be, is the greatest of all time. I've always wanted to go down in history for being a GOAT, for having shared with you my opinion on Descendants and Zombies, and really securing the futures of your favorite stars. That's all I've ever wanted to do. And you guys gave me the honor to do that by making this the most popular Descendants and Zombies podcast in the world. Thank you guys so much for giving me that honor. Tomorrow morning I will be back between 8:35 and 9:05 a.m. to talk more about Descendants and Zombies for the foreseeable future, because there is a future for Descendants and Zombies, and I'm just excited to be a part of it. Guys, again, thank you so much for allowing me to be your voice of Descendants and Zombies, allowing me to be a part of each and every one of your lives. There is still so much stuff to be said about the future of these two franchises, and I'm just excited to be here and never felt so honored to be your voice of Descendants and Zombies to help you make sense of the foreseeable future. Guys, stay calm and zombie on into that foreseeable future, because life is sweeter when all of us are. We will talk again tomorrow morning. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons to boost the count of subscribers on this YouTube channel and support this YouTube channel the way it was meant to forever and always be supported. We are stronger together, Descendants and Zombies, on into the foreseeable future, because that's the only way to be in this life.